detective thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again. Bit of Statham, Jared. You know how I feel about Statham. He sort of draws.
You like him more than I do.
He draws me in.
Yes, he does.
Stath has drawn me in over the years. So
I mean, you could probably be had on a fucking Chev Chelios t-shirt or something like that.
Yeah, I could go with the Chev Chelios. I can go with the Mechanic. Cool. But tonight we're going to go with the Beekeeper in 2024. But before we get to that, I've been on leave, so I've got a substantial viewing list. So straight out of the gate, watched Only Murders in the Building, season 1 and 2, and started season 3. Really good, Jared. Really good. I forgot, you kind of forget about Steve Martin now that he's in his 70s. He was fucking piss funny back in his heyday.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely fantastic here, although it's Martin Short who steals everything. Like, he's just fucking awesome.
Yeah. Short's the one that it wasn't until I was well into adulthood that I discovered that he was fucking hilarious. Like every time you see him on an interview on a fucking Tonight Show or whatever, the bloke he's a bit like Robin Williams, just not as energetic.
Yeah,
he's constantly ripping out winners.
He's just kind of, they just kind of riff. Yeah. Like it's kind of, and he gets all the best stuff. Props to Selena Gomez. She fits in nicely in the group. The first season was really good. The second season, not quite so good, but it was still pretty solid. And I'm not going to lie, there's an episode at the start of season 3 which is set more so in like the theatre, and they're putting a play together. And I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but spoiler alert: Meryl Streep has a large role in season 3, and they do a table read. Paul Rudd also has a large role as well, and they do this table read of the script. And Meryl Streep, fucking hell, like, every time they start for her to do a line, she does it in a different accent. And she's like, I'm trying this out. And everyone's just staring at her going, what the fuck's going on? And I thought that was fucking piss funny.
Yeah.
So I've got high hopes for season 3, and there's season 4 already being released. So that's good. There's a bit up the sleeve. I went back to the Slasher series, Jared. On Netflix at the moment. I watched the entire season 1, The Executioner, followed by Guilty Party.
Yep.
And I'm now 3 episodes into Solstice, which is season 3.
Yep.
I forgot these are bad, unfortunately.
Well, I recall you being reasonably high on season 2.
I was very big. I was very big on season 2. You were bigger on season 1.
I thought season 1 was better, aside from the fact that I
picked it
5 minutes in. Like,
no, watching them back, they're all bad.
Yeah.
Like, all of them. There's no character development. You've got 8 episodes to work with, but the character stuff is pretty lame.
So what you're telling me is Cronenberg sort of resuscitated things.
Well, Cronenberg, like, it's funny because seasons 4 and 5 really hit its stride.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing that I think it's kind of been canned. I've heard nothing new about a season 6, but that season 4 and season 5, they kind of had like these actors, one actress who sort of stood out, and Cronenberg stood out in season 4.
But they also gave the returning players a little better
stuff to work with. Yes, agreed. And actually, I think season 4 was probably the best season.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed 4 and 5.
Yeah, I thought they were both really
pretty
good. These first 3 are just garbage. And one of the problems is it's just sleaze. Like, they really have gone overboard. It feels like, you know what, we're on a streaming service, so no one gives a fuck. It can be rated R. So let's just jack everything up. So everything's just jacked up to the max. Everything's really sleazy. Even though I'm not a prude, Jared, a couple of times I looked over my shoulder going, fuck, is there someone coming in? Are they walking in? And I paused at the wrong moment.
Yeah.
One time I paused and it had something very sleazy on the screen, and I could let it run for a few more seconds and then paused again.
I'm just watching a drama.
This is
it's actually
drama.
a dramedy.
It's a dramedy. It's great. So I'm not loving, and Jared, if I had to rank them, the worst one is Solstice. Even though I'm only 3 or 4 episodes in, there's one character
That one
in
felt
that.
like the grubbiest too.
Yeah, it's grubby. And there's this performance by an actress who I think is pretty good. She's been in all of them.
Yeah, Paula Brank.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. She's a solid actress, but she gets fucking saddled with this character in Solstice where I was like, oh my God.
When I think season 3, that's the first character I think. And
I was like, oh my God. She must have been like, fuck, what have I been given? I would say Solstice is the worst. I'd say The Executioner is the next worst. And then I think Guilty Party is probably the best of those 3 in my opinion. But you know what? It's fucking splitting hairs. They're all pretty bad. So, yeah, not loving it. I watched the new... This isn't really in our usual wheelhouse, but it was called Nobody Wants This. It's a drama series on Netflix. Had Kristen Bell, Adam Brody. Really good. Really funny. Enjoyable. So worth a look. I watched Mr. Crockett on Disney Plus. Not bad. Very interesting. I love the aesthetic of like the kids' TV show that seems to come to life and sort of make people pay, like parents pay for their mistreating their kids and all this type of stuff. Quite good, enjoyable. If I were you, you'd probably enjoy it, I reckon, Jared. The Shallows. I checked out The Shallows. Not as good as I remember it, Jared. This seems to be a fucking... No, this seems to be like a constant thing for me. I go back and watch these things and I'm like, it wasn't really that good.
You go back to these, especially the shark movies that you've come in trumpeting.
Yeah, I've never really tried. I said this is 3 stars and it's not.
Jaws 2, fuck, she's pretty close.
Yeah, what?
No, she's not really.
Jaws 2 still looks good.
Yeah, Jaws 2 looks great in comparison to everything else. Then you watch Jaws and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, what's this? The Shallows has an excellent lead performance. Like, Blake Lively is really good.
Yep.
And for a while, when it's a survival thing, it works really well. But then, fuck me, the last half hour is just lunacy.
Yeah. These single person, I've said it so many times, these single person ones are fucking hard to do well.
Yeah.
Because you don't have, you got to work with limited dialogue. Otherwise, the person's just talking to themselves all the time. I mean, there's a reason Tom Hanks had a fucking volleyball to talk to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't really work.
Doesn't look good.
So I still think, looking at those ones, I still think phone booth is as good as you get because
phone booth,
you've got someone to fucking talk to.
But you could also bring others to it.
Yeah.
Like, because he's in the middle of the city, it works more in that space. Yeah, no, I agree. I think phone booth works well. Leviathan. 1989, Jared. I mean, it's got a solid cast. You got Peter Weller, you got Richard Crenna, you got Hector Elizondo. It's a pretty solid cast. It just is boring. If only George P. Cosmatos had let someone else ghost direct it, it might have been all right.
Harsh.
It's kind of got the right elements that would be interesting, but it kind of feels like they're ripping off Aliens and just not doing it very well. It's also got Ernie Hudson in it. I forgot. Ernie Hudson.
Genius.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier to direct it when Kurt Russell's not chewing your ear off, though.
Yeah. Well, Sylvester's not going, let me take it from here.
Sylvester doesn't chew your ear off, but he just says, yeah, that's great. And then you hear from other producers 5 minutes later on the phone going, Sylvester's not happy.
Yeah, we brought in Albert Magnoli. You're out. I watched a couple of docos. Jailbreak, Love on the Run. I can never really understand why people do the sort of shit that this lady did. She was in her 60s. She was a corrections officer, and she fell head over heels for a convicted murderer and helped him escape.
Yeah, right.
It didn't end well, put it that way.
Yeah.
And then I watched Sweet Bobby, My Catfish Nightmare. I gotta look, Jared, I've got a rule. If I haven't met you, we're not getting married.
I think that's a hard and fast rule in my playbook as well.
I have not actually met you. Rule number 2, if you tell me you're in witness protection.
If will you marry me doesn't come out of your face in person.
Correct. I don't believe
I'm sceptical. Unless you tell me you're The Rock, I like money.
You tell me The Rock,
or
I'm fucking
Kevin Costner, but you got to pay $300 to get a VIP access to me. Well, fuck, if we're going to get married, bargain.
That's right. I mean, fuck, you know that Kate Costner's hard up for a marriage proposal.
Oh, shit.
He's hitting you up on fucking what? On Instagram.
Facebook Messenger and Instagram. He's all over the place.
So, look, it's hard not to look at these, and I know that these people get...
Yeah, there's factors.
There's a lot of factors, a lot of it's got to do with, like, they're vulnerable.
There's factors that cause them, they're vulnerable, and they want to believe that this is real, and they fucking convince themselves.
But it's hard not to...
But there's still a point. Like, I mean, there's... I don't know. I just feel like, the same, where it's like, there's a point where it's like, fuck, come on.
Yeah.
It doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah. The smell is I haven't spoken to him.
Well, you're not in person, so I can't smell anything. So it doesn't pass that test.
Jared, if I haven't spoken to him ever, in person or not, for 18 fucking months, then something smells.
Yeah.
Does it not?
Something stinks.
And the last one, Jared, which you were pretty high on the last episode, was Rebel Ridge. Fuck, that was good.
Yeah, it was really
real good.
Yep.
Like, I really enjoyed it. It was tightly wound. It was a bit of a slow burn at points. There was a couple of moments that were awesome. It reminded me very much of Rambo. But I dug the kind of deeper, deep south. He's an African-American. You can see how there's that racial tension to it all.
Yeah, and I dug at the fact that there was a reason behind. As we said, Teasel was just a fucking prick. But this one, there was a reason behind
the things were being hidden.
Yes, things were being done for a purpose that, I just thought it gave it a little more sort of drama rather than just launching straight into the action stuff. I was a big fan. And mate, the lead guy who's excellent in Rebel Ridge, Aaron Pierre.
Pierre, he's fucking awesome.
He's just been cast as the Green Lantern.
Oh, really? Okay.
James Gunn's
Green Lantern.
James Gunn's DCE. So there's, I think, your mate from Friday Night Lights, the coach, has been cast as Hal Jordan in the show. So he's an older Green Lantern, and this one's John Stewart. This guy's just been cast as John Stewart. So they're doing some good work there. I'm very happy after seeing him in this that he
has got a very solid career ahead of him, I feel. He was excellent. Yeah. And Don Johnson, excellent.
Yeah. But he doesn't throw hands much.
No.
But the whole time you're sitting there going, fuck, I'm on edge here because I think he's going to kick my ass.
I want him to kick someone's ass badly.
Yeah.
And the fact that, it follows that Rambo template of no one gets killed.
Yeah.
Like, I really dug that. He kind of showcased that he could put them all out without hurting anybody badly. So I really enjoyed that. But that was my list of what I've seen.
Good list.
What do you got?
All right, I got a few. I watched The Australian Office. Watched the whole season actually.
Is it good?
Another flight. Look, it's not a disaster. I actually got a few laughs. There's one particular character called Lloyd, who's one of the fellas that was in the What We Do in the Shadows movie.
Oh yeah,
and he's piss funny. Like, he had me laughing just about every time he was piping up. There's one where like it's pajama day and Lloyd's strutting around with his fucking dick hanging out, basically. He doesn't realise his fucking pajamas are hanging over. Like, so they do get some mileage out of some of it, but unfortunately, I think it's just all too familiar. Like, I don't think any of the actors really do a bad job, but the whole Jim and Pam, or what was it in the UK, Dawn and Tim, yeah. Dawn and Tim, that whole dynamic just doesn't play as well, I don't think. The boss and the Dwight kind of
doesn't play as well.
It just doesn't play as well because it's so familiar, and I don't think they do a bad job. I think.
Well, this is the thing. We're coming way too late to this, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it's just. I mean, especially in Australia, because we've got the two English language ones to go to that we're very familiar with. It's hard to not look at them and compare. And because they were both so good, it's got to be really fucking good to match up. So it's not a disaster. I did get a few laughs out of it. It's just not. It's not in that category. So I'll be interested to see what they do. Obviously, there's going to be eyeballs on it because there'll be people watching it for both reasons, wanting to just check it out, and other people watching it to see is this as bad as I think it's going to be, or So they'll probably get eyeballs on it, and so it'll be interesting to see if they get another season. But yeah, it wasn't a disaster. It wasn't terrible. I did get a few laughs. So
yeah,
I kept dipping into Bronson. I couldn't help
You
myself.
love the bloke.
I watched Murphy's Law.
Oh, yeah. And is that a canon as well?
It's canon. Yeah, it was canon, and I think it was the same director again.
J.Lee
Thompson. So this one, it had a decent setup. It was just the classic, the cop gets framed, so he's on the run. But they put him on the run with the girl from Roadhouse, the girl that's the sort of redheaded. I can't remember what her character name was in Roadhouse, but she's Kathleen Wilhoit is her name.
Okay,
the actress. And I think she's a pretty good actress, but they keep giving her this fucking dialogue. She keeps calling him fucking bloody, I can't remember some of them, but it's all on the, every time she's speaking to him, it's something about fucking snot rag or fucking sperm bag or she keeps just blasting him with these. Every time she speaks, he's one of those names, and I'm like,
well, we know. He's so manly. We know he's a fucking sperm bag. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. That's a fact. So, that's not shitting on him. That's a fact.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot.
Exactly. There's actually one scene, and I mean, the guy looks about 100.
He's recently had plastic surgery.
He's recently had plastic surgery, but there's one particular moment in the film where it's kind of. She kind of mentions, I like older guys or something like that. And I thought, they're not, are they? They're not going to do this. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think there was another, a classic canon thing where there's something fucking, I don't know, some seedy, in the previous one with a jerk-off machine and dildo. Actually, sorry, it might have been the next one. So I also watched Kinjite, I think it's called Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects. This is
J.Lee Thompson
canon.
as well?
This is seedy canon. This was the last one together, I believe. But yeah, she's pretty seedy canon. Just dealing with fucking trafficking younger girls and things like that. And I'm like, fuck, I don't, I've always got to, it's a fine line if you're doing movies. I'm not saying you can't delve into that subject, but when it's a canon picture, it's not really for anything other than...
You're not
exploitation, and I'm
Jared,
not sure
you're not well equipped to deal with this subtlety and nuanced when you can it.
But there was again. I didn't love it. It was okay for what these are. You know what you're getting into when you get into these canon ones. But this one definitely had another scene where Bronson busts in on some guy who's not cooperating, so he finds a fucking dildo, and then he kind of picks it up and mentions, "Let's see how you like it," and then it cuts away. And he's there going, I went overboard and all this sort of stuff. And so it insinuates that he's basically, jamming up the bloke's clacker. And I'm like, Charles, do we need this?
What, in the interrogation room?
Not in the interrogation. Fuck. When he busts into a hotel room. Okay. I'm like, this is, as I said, it's not the platform to be dealing with the subtleties of such complex
Think of that sequence, Jared, of stuff. Charles Bronson jamming a fucking dildo in your coaster while you're in a hotel room. I hope he doesn't talk.
I'm glad it cut away. I'm glad it cut away. Let's say that much. I think I've got to take a break from Bronson for a while. Or at least if I watch more Bronson, it's got to be non-canon Bronson. It's got to come before Death Wish and kind of give him a chance as a real actor.
I think that might be better. Nothing near J.Lee Thompson.
Possibly for the best.
Jesus.
Well, the funny thing is they're both good operators. I have determined that I think Bronson's a decent enough actor, and J.Lee Thompson had.
He directed Guns and Navarone and fucking Cape Fear.
He's got some bangers on the resume.
Just not near the end.
So once they got to canon, it was just let's collect a few dollars.
He also made a slasher, didn't he? Happy Birthday to Me.
Yeah, he made Happy Birthday to Me. Yeah, so they're both solid operators. They just got mixed in with the canon crowd. Sometimes that results in some things that maybe you don't want to be associated with. shortly after you've done them.
It's like it's the fucking equivalent of looking over your shoulder when you're watching fucking Solstice.
Exactly.
You don't want to admit it.
Yep. I watched Blood and Bone, which
Blood
was
and Bone.
Michael J. White.
No, how is Michael?
Michael's good, and it's got the fella that played Kareem Saeed in Oz.
Oh, yeah?
If you remember Oz,
I do.
Great show. Decent enough action. Julian Sands pops up for a couple of minutes. Decent enough action fair. It's just a guy sort of on a revenge mission mixed in with a little bit of, illegal fighting ring sort of thing. So, yeah, I didn't mind it.
All the best action movies have got that shit mixed in.
Of course. And a bit of canon as well.
Anyway.
I watched Joker Folie à Deux.
Oh, dear.
That
has taken some fucking hammer time, hasn't it?
It has. Look, it brings me back to, I don't mind you taking some swings. I don't mind you doing something different. But it's unfortunately to me, it was very boring. And I got where they were going with some of them, and they're kind of reckoning with the first film and some of the fans that took it perhaps how they didn't want it to be taken, and so they put a little bit of that in the courtroom stuff and whatever. But it just doesn't come together very well. Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, you can always rely on him to give you what you need. Lady Gaga is good in it, but they both just don't get a great movie to work with. And it bothers me when people go, oh, it's brilliant because it's doing this. Well, it's not brilliant because it's doing that. It's trying to do that, but it's fucking hard to watch in some parts because it drags and it's. So I don't know. I didn't love it.
Was there a need for it? Like, could they have just cut their losses and said, well, we don't need a sequel to Joker?
They could have, but when it makes $1 billion,
I know this is the problem.
Right.
But then you also let Todd Phillips, from what I read, he took control and did not let anyone else know what was going on.
Well, he demanded it be shot in LA, which, from what I've heard, there was an exchange that involved David Zaslav mentioning something about, can we shoot it somewhere else? We could do it for this many dollars. And Todd Phillips replied with, I'll do it for $0 then, or something like that. So
I would have said, fuck, all right.
Yeah,
off we go.
Piss off, yeah. But I think, unfortunately, he probably had too much control, and it's possibly a little self-indulgent. I'm putting it out there, but yeah, I didn't love it. And there was also, I watched a couple of, I was deep into the cycle of watching, what other people thought of it. And I heard someone bring up a interesting point about, because Harley Quinn is got a history of, essentially being a victim of a domestic violence situation or in the relationship with the Joker, that they were a bit put off by the whole reframing of that character, which I think is a reasonable enough point to raise. Like when they're talking about just a new take on characters, which I'm very much open to. But yeah, the take that I saw sort of brought up, that's perfectly fine, but you've also got to be careful with what that character actually means in certain contexts. But that was something that actually kind of, when I came out, I thought, yeah, that's actually a really good fucking point. So yeah, look, I didn't love it. I couldn't recommend it.
They reckon it's going to lose $200 million.
Yeah.
Fucking Zaslav hit them out of the park left and right.
400 to break even, wasn't it?
Yeah, nah, it's not even going to get close.
You know what? I hope they fucking give James Gunn a little bit of leash. I hope they actually allow him to fucking...
Well, Jared...
Before they jump in and get hands all over. Because I think...
The way I see it is, you've got nothing to lose. You may as well let him do what he says he wants to do.
Yeah, but guys like Zaslav don't say, fuck, every time I've got involved in this, it's been shit. So maybe I should just hand it off and trust.
Yeah, I know.
Trust
because
someone else with
fucking, it. I mean, how that guy hasn't been fired, I don't know. But...
Well, the joint's going to fucking hell and very quickly.
Fucking
so,
hell.
Yeah. What's one of your favourites?
Oh.
Backdraft.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Too long.
It is a little long.
A little bit. There's a little bit too much happening.
Yep.
But Kurt Russell.
Fuck. Yep. Russell just being Russell. Just fucking
my
being
favourite sequence is, though, when he gets pissed at the fucking ball, and the way he attacks the bloke, then they pull him away. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
He kind of does
it. He kind of does. He's adjusting his tie. Kind of does the circle back.
He does it like 3 times. I'm like,
yeah, that was good.
Exactly.
I didn't mind it. It was good.
Some of the thing that I found about it is the fucking fire effects are outstanding.
Excellent.
Outstanding.
Because you're watching the whole time and you're like, it looks like they're in the mix.
Yeah.
And I don't know I don't really know in parts of it. I'm looking at it going, I'm not sure how they got it done.
Yeah.
Which is a good, it's a good thing. And you're into it. You're into the movie. So, yeah, I was very impressed with that aspect of it all. The last one, Adam, I've spoken to you about this a little bit, but I watched All Hallows Eve, which is the first Damien Leone film with Art the Clown. And I watched Terrifier 1. I'm going to watch Terrifier 2 and then go and see the third one in the cinema, hopefully.
Okay.
I'm going to preface it by saying I think 2 was quite good. From what I've heard about 3, positive things. I'm fucking very, very pleased that the bloke has just creator-controlled this whole thing.
Yeah, and now it's making money, big money.
Done it independently. Essentially, this is one of those stories where it's a fucking life changer for this bloke.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to end up banking about 60 million in domestic box office, so made for like 3 million.
I think it's great. It's a great story. I think the guy is talented. As I said, Terrifier 2, I thought it had some really good stuff in it. But I've got just a slight problem with the whole Art the Clown's a new horror icon kind of thing. I just don't see it. I don't see it, and I don't see it for a few reasons. Like, I just think, I mean, you mentioned to me you've avoided them, and you're not the only person to say it. I know a bunch of people that are in the age bracket that we are of growing up on, the Freddys and the Michaels and that sort of thing, that have gotten the impression that it's just gore for gore's sake.
Yeah.
And I can't say that, like, especially 1 and 2, especially All Hallows Eve and 1, I don't think that's incorrect. I think it's, and I think there's, like, so All Hallows Eve, I actually found a commentary of the original short, which is placed into All Hallows Eve as one of the stories, and it had a commentary with him, with the short. So I watched All Hallows Eve, and then I went back and watched the short of Art the Clown with the commentary, and I don't think it changed any of my opinions. I mean, essentially, there's a line in there where he says, I thought about in this scene, what's the worst thing I could do to a woman without killing her? And I kind of just thought that sums up why I don't think Art the Clown is, I mean, he's not even close to the Freddys and the Michaels, because that's not what those guys, like, if you hear Wes Craven talking about Freddy,
it's deep.
Yeah.
There's
deeper shit there. There's a lot of stuff about sins of the father or sins of the parents, all that sort of stuff. Michael Myers had a bit about, I don't know necessarily how much John Carpenter was going for of this, but it's like, your safe spaces and the neighborhoods being not so safe and all this sort of shit. But I heard that and I'm like, well, that's why I don't think it's as scary, for one. That's why it goes into the kind of, it gets lumped into the torture porn category, because that's kind of, I think, the whole point of it.
Look, I haven't seen these films, right?
Yeah.
So I can't really comment, but I've avoided them.
Yeah. I haven't seen 3 yet, so I can't sort of put that in there, but having seen the others, yeah.
But I've avoided them because everything I see just looks like I said this before about Hostel. Once you step over the line to something uncomfortable, it's no longer entertaining for me.
But it's got, see, this is the thing. There's been I've read a lot of stuff about art should, not Art the Clown, but art should not necessarily have to be safe, and it should be able to challenge you.
No,
but I come back to, that doesn't mean just not being safe means it's good. I think it was actually Rob Zombie that said that. So Rob should look at Halloween 1 for that example too. Like, I don't think just doing gore, and I mean, the guy's a special effects guy, so I understand why he went that direction. And as I said, I don't want this to be kind of shitting on him because I'm happy for the guy and I'm kind of supportive of what he did. But I just fall short of putting Art the Clown in that category because not only that, but he brings a little bit of supernatural sort of stuff in it too. So I think that kind of saps the tension. Because Michael, you know, obviously there's stuff where it seems like he's fucking supernatural, but early on it was like there was hope that someone might get away. Whereas when I watch some of the Terrifiers and there's a little bit of supernatural stuff brought in, I'm like, everyone's fucked.
Yeah.
So the whole exercise to me comes back to you're just trying to be as gory as possible.
Look, again,
which for me doesn't make good movies.
And each to their own.
Yeah,
they seem to have quite a following, and good on the guy. I think he's done obviously a fantastic job, but it's not stuff that interests me at all. Which is funny because they're primarily slasher films, correct?
Yeah, they are.
And you know, I'm a slasher fan, and I have no real desire. I saw that the Terrifier 1 and 2 were both on Shudder, and I still didn't even I got time.
Look, the best thing about Terrifier 1, for me, the best stuff about Terrifier 1 is before he starts killing anyone.
Yeah.
There's scenes where he's interacting with people, and he's fucking creepy. The guy playing Art is excellent.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff in there, aside from the fact that there's always got to be shit involved. In all of them, there's shit. He's fucking rubbing shit on things. And
why?
I don't know. I don't want to know about that. Again, it's pushing boundaries. To me, it's pushing boundaries for the sake of pushing boundaries, which doesn't make good movies. But
no.
I think, there's definitely good things about the movies. Don't get me wrong. There is some really good stuff. I thought, especially Terrifier 2, there was some very good stuff and some creepy stuff. But that stuff's not it.
No.
I don't think. So, I don't know. I thought it would be interesting to just have a little chat about.
No, fair enough. I might have to have a look at them.
Yeah, I would. Well,
I don't really want to, but
I would very much welcome your take. I think All Hallows Eve is tough because it tries to be anthology, but that kind of messes it up. So I almost think it's.
Is the rest of the anthology stuff any good?
No. So I think the best way to watch it is
the short.
The short, because it takes probably the better stuff out of All Hallows Eve and just whacks it into a sort of 20-minute short.
Okay, cool. Is that everything?
That was everything for me.
All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2024's The Beekeeper.
You're telling me one man did this. The only thing you know is he's a beekeeper.
A beekeeper? A beekeeper? Well, that's not good.
Beekeepers is a special program outside the chain of command.
And the system is corrupt.
I correct it.
You are a problem.
Damn right I'm a problem.
Honey?
It's flammable. Oh no.
The Beekeeper. Rated R. Only in theaters January 12th.
The Beekeeper from 2024, directed by David Ayer, who directed Bright. Produced by David Ayer, Bill Block, who produced Halloween Kills, Chris Long, who produced The Tax Collector, Jason Statham, and Kurt Wimmer. It's written by Kurt Wimmer. Now, let me just run you through some of the stuff he has written, okay?
It's going to be rough.
Law-Abiding Citizen, Total Recall remake, Point Break remake, Children of the Corn remake, Expendables 4.
Yeah.
I think that's, you know where I might be going here.
Well, isn't that fucking 4 strikes? You should have gone. You should have been gone by now.
Fucking SAG card, well and truly gone.
Yeah. Hey, the SAG card needs to implement a strike policy.
Yeah, exactly. Don't give me this fucking 3 strikes and you're out policy and then don't do it. It stars Jason Statham as Adam Clay, Emmy Raver Lampman as Agent Veronica Parker, Bobby Nadari as Agent Matt Wiley, Josh Hutcherson as Derek Danforth, and Jeremy Irons as Wallace Westward. The budget was $40 million. The box office was $152 million worldwide. Roadshow Films, the Australian distributor, didn't care about the film and thought it was going to flop. So we gave it a low-key release. While their other big release, the heavily promoted Ferrari, flopped everywhere. The Beekeeper took off and grossed almost $9 million.
Was that just Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forcing Roadshow to increase its screen count and add more theatres.
What the fuck are we doing entertainment-wise? We're brushing The Beekeeper, we're remaking The Office. Like, what are we doing?
We're sitting there and we're thinking Statham's got no more in the tank.
Statham's got no play.
Got no play. There were angry emails and bad social media feedback saying to put it on more screens. Fuck. Come on, Roadshow.
Jesus.
Christ. All right, Jared. The Beekeeper. Talk to me here.
All right. So I guess if you're looking for John Wick, but you replace the dog with an old lady and you make the John Wick character, rather than an assassin, you make it some sort of shady government operative.
Yeah.
And you like your John Wick action a little less good and directed by David Ayer with the choppy cuts and things like that, but still a reasonably fun bit of work, this is the movie you're looking for, I think.
Damning it with fuck all praise. What are you doing?
No, it is pretty good fun. Like, all the story stuff is nonsense, but they know it is, and they just get out of their own way very quickly to just get Statham on there, getting involved in the action side of things. And that stuff works reasonably well. But yeah, it's very derivative of John Wick in a couple of ways.
Don't look too hard at it.
Yeah.
I think that's the message, isn't it?
But it's a nice little kind of, it's action junk again, Adam.
Oh.
It's a nice little piece of action junk.
Yeah.
So I would give it 3.
3. All right. I would agree. It's action junk. The plot is just rubbish. Like, the fucking plot. Like, honestly.
Go on. They just say, get out of here.
Strike 5.
Let's just fucking shoot some action.
Strike 5.
They came in with 20 pages. They fucking threw 19 of them away and said, fuck, let's just shoot. Jason, get out of here. Throw some punches.
Look, it's a solid B sort of actioner. It's kind of John Wick light. And Statham gives a, I don't want to say it's a good performance, but he knows his lane.
He knows what he's doing.
He stays in it, and he's good to watch.
Yep.
Like, he can throw down, and he does it well. And he must be in his mid-50s.
Yeah, I actually have a mention of that in one of my little pieces.
Yeah, he's a pretty good fucking nick for a mid-50s guy. But just the plot is just there's no plot really. There's no real character development. They don't spend any time. Like, fuck, if the only reason he's losing his shit over the old lady is because she's the only person who ever cared for me, I mean, fuck off. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
And then there's this whole side plot involving her granddaughter
which goes
as an
nowhere.
FBI, it's a waste of celluloid.
Yeah.
It's just useless. It's padding.
Yep.
When the action is on, it's on. Like, and it's good.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
2.5.
2.5?
2.5,
Oof.
yeah.
Did
It's
I
split down
like
the middle.
Statham better than you did
Yeah,
today?
split down the middle.
Shit.
On this one.
Turn it up.
Straight out of the gate, Statham. He's rugged. He's got that shit down pat. That kind of gruff, tough, guy that's suddenly up to the challenge all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And he knows what his lane is.
It's always the same, but it suits. I mean, this is the same guy that was a scientist in The Meg. There's no difference to how he played those two characters.
This is the mechanic. This is Chev Chelios.
Exactly.
This is
all he
of
did
them.
with Chev Chelios was run a little bit more, run a bit faster.
But Statham knows that that's his lane.
He's good.
He sticks to it, and he's good in it.
Yeah.
And he looks good on film when he's kicking ass too.
Oh, yeah, a little bit heated, a little bit hot under the collar there.
You know what I mean? Like Van Damme and all those guys.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
looks good.
Yes.
He looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And it's believable. Except for that time
Is
it's
I would not describe one part of this movie as believable.
I mean, it's believable that he could kick ass.
Yeah.
It's except that time in Expendables 4 where he took on Echo Weiss, and then, we say, Statham cleans him up.
Come on,
Fuck
we've seen the raid.
off.
We have seen the raid.
Statham
Poor old
gets tagged.
Jason's head would be being treated like a speedball by Iko.
No doubt about it. Get the shit beat out of him. Like,
Iko's landed about 10 punches, 3 elbows, a couple of knees.
and I've got something to say about Statham in the dislikes that I'd like your thoughts on.
Okay. Happy to give them, Adam.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
I actually thought speeding through the setup, if you're going to do that, the fucking scammer scenario
That was good.
is a good one because
I've got a dislike to it, but
Yeah.
I think the way it played,
yes, well,
was
it
solid.
immediately it's just in that category of where you just hear and you hear you read news articles fucking daily about what these people do, and they just whack a simple scenario on the screen,
Yeah.
and you're immediately like, these fucking pricks,
yeah.
because that's how you feel about them. Like It's just an easy way to sort of set it up. Like,
yeah, you know they're assholes from minute one because they're scamming people out of their money.
But not only that, but they give you that Garnett fella who's gleefully fucking pumping himself up about it.
Yeah, I've got some dislikes to that bit.
Well, I don't necessarily think I don't think the character or the setup is ridiculous.
But
like fucking walk around with a microphone.
I would have loved to have stuck with her on the phone because that's real. That's what you get.
But I think the Garnett stuff actually works because it's so simple and so quick the way that they do it that you're just like, I fucking hate these guys.
I know. And the setup of the scammers is a good call.
Yeah.
Good call. I mean, look, she scammed out of so much money, you can kind of buy that she would kill herself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because it wasn't her money either.
It's ridiculous. I mean, they're fucking... It's a charity. Oh, it's a kids' charity. They keep layering on how much of how shitty these people are.
Yeah, and these people are shitty. So I agree that works nicely.
The way they rip through it, if they're going to do that, I thought they did it about as well as you could hope for.
Oh,
if they're just fucking
easy.
Throw it up there, rip through it, not go too deep into the depths of it all. Just
no, but I agree.
Which is why I say you replace the dog with the old lady.
Yeah.
Like it's John Wick.
But fuck me. I've got to get to something about the old lady later.
Okay.
And Statham's relationship with her, if you want to call it that.
Again, not much there, but...
No.
Yeah.
Now, when he rocks up to the United Data Group and blows the joint up...
Yeah.
That was good shit.
Fucking awesome.
Because you kind of punch the air.
Yeah.
You want him to fucking kick the shit out of these people. You want him to set the joint on fire.
Yes.
And he kind of never wavers from that.
Yeah. It's just when he kind of says, repeat after me. I'll never fucking, whatever he says, I'll never take advantage of vulnerable people or whatever. And everyone kind of goes, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
And then he just grabs the closest bloke
and just beats the fucking daylights out of him. Yeah.
That's what you're here for.
Exactly. And it works a treat. And you want that to happen.
Yes.
Because these guys are bastards. Like they've done enough to set up the fact of what they've done to her. And you know they're doing it to a lot of people.
Yeah. Which gets lost in the shuffle, but initially you remember what he's there for. And you're like, get him. Just fucking get stuck into him.
Yeah.
Backtracking slightly, I didn't like much about the whole sort of storyline with the daughter because, you're talking about, we'll get into it later about why that subplot doesn't necessarily work.
Was it a daughter or a niece?
Niece. Daughter or granddaughter or whatever.
Fucking something.
She was related.
Yeah, related.
she's done her
Statham was more fucking related to her.
She's done her 23andMe and she's got in touch with this woman saying we're related. That's about as much as I got from it. But I think I actually did appreciate the fact that they throw the evidence at her and they show just a handful of shots of her going to check out the barn and what he's up to and coming back and going, fuck, he's the wrong guy.
Yeah.
He didn't do it.
Yeah.
When they present, there's no residue, blah, blah, blah. There's no Dwayne T. Robinson to be found here, Adam. She just goes, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
And drops it.
Yes.
I appreciated that. Instead of fucking,
he's got to be.
This is the guy, and fucking staying on his hammer the whole movie.
That
or
would have been
stupid
bullshit.
like that.
Yeah, I do agree with you. They kind of cut him loose quick.
Yeah,
like that
they
he's
cut
not
him
the
loose. Man. She has a chat with him to kind of establish a couple of things, and we're off. Like I appreciated that we didn't get stuck in that same old kind of cycle of someone who's clearly blinded by the emotion of what happened. Maybe that's because she is a second cousin.
Yeah.
She's not that upset.
She's still not sure if that was
she
her
doesn't seem
relative. Yeah. I'm not sure if I know this person, but hey, I'm emotional about it.
Am I on the wheel? Fuck, okay. All right. I'm listening.
How much did she leave me? Oh, that's right. She's been scammed out of everything.
She left me the barn. Oh, it's fucking been burned down. That'd be right. Fuck.
Speaking of barns, a nice little stalking kind of fight sequence in the barn. Works nicely. Statham kind of goes like Rambo style, quietly just fucking takes them all out.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that he takes the fucking barrel of a shotgun and jams it through one bloke and then cutting that guy's fingers off.
Well, this is where I didn't mind that Garnett character. he kind of comes in and he's talking tough, but he's fucking stumbling on his words while he's doing that.
Yeah.
And then when Statham gets a hold of him after dispatching everyone else, he's like, we can sort this out.
Exactly. And then I also like to see him ratchet strapped to a fucking car and sent off a bridge.
Yeah, that was good.
Again, we were in safe territory here, Jared.
Yeah.
This is Statham 101.
Yeah. Well, you know what else I liked about that? I mean, we go on about the Beekeeper and all this sort of shit, but they seem to have the means to be able to find him pretty easily.
Yeah.
As much as the way that they say it comes about is fucking stupid. They're just, just check the last couple of things and then they stumble across him while they're there. But you're thinking about the tech that they're using and whatever. He rolled in there and didn't fucking hide anything and he was in the car that was, like, you would think they had the means to discover where this guy was or who he was in that certain little context. So I kind of like that they immediately fucking return serve and turn up at the house. Wishing they hadn't very quickly, but
no,
that was pretty cool.
Strolling straight into the middle of a SWAT team, advising them what he's been looking for back doors, and if I knew where they were, I would have already been in there.
Yeah.
They'd beaten the shit out of all of them.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, it was good. And it came at a good time too, because there was just like the minute or two before that, I was kind of
bit of a lull.
going, I think it's sagging a little bit. And then he just fucking turns up and goes off.
Yeah.
He goes off for about the next fucking 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And, that stuff was all nicely handled.
Yes.
But again, it falls into the category that I'm going to bring up. It's like a disease. Statham seems to have got himself a disease here, Jared. I'll elaborate further.
Okay. Later on. I actually, that rolls straight into, I don't know why I like this bit so much, but I did. When he walks in, he's like, I'm giving you a one-time amnesty. Like, whoever doesn't want to die can in an orderly fashion, leave.
And the bloke goes, nobody's leaving, we're all... And then he fucking takes a stapler to his head.
I don't know why I like that so much. It was just it was stupid action lines, but I thought that one kind of worked again.
It did.
That he just kind of rolls in and starts telling everyone.
Wimmer, nailed it.
Wimmer, got it perfectly.
In and out of the park.
Yeah.
I tell you what I did not expect, and I actually liked, was the fact that Hutchison and all that stuff and that this data group are actually connected to the president.
Oh.
I didn't sort of...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see any of that coming, and I thought, well, that's
I'm on
all
the
right.
other side of that.
Didn't like that?
Well, the time before that, you see when Jeremy Irons is talking to his mother.
Yes.
And they establish it's his mother, I immediately thought, I didn't think president, but I immediately
She's
thought
high up.
high-ranking political official.
I thought something like that, but I didn't realise it was the president.
Yeah. That's
could
just
cop
this
that.
movie, right? Like, it just takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't like that. I thought it was very obvious that that's where it was going to go, but taking it to that level, it kind of elevated the fucking silly action parts of it that I really loved.
Well, it kind of put a little bit of it raised the stakes a touch. It showcased why the FBI was so heavily invested and involved in stopping him.
It also makes it utterly ridiculous. I mean, if it wasn't already, that he gets anywhere near the bit at the end.
No way. Like, you can't fart near the president.
That's right. But it's, I think it was fine.
Yeah. And the last thing for me, the final fight was solid.
Yeah.
With him and that crazy South African guy. Lazarus. I liked it. He takes his lumps a bit.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of acceptable in that regard.
And they're working each other over.
Yeah. Which I thought was all right.
Yeah.
It's probably the best choreographed fight too, because they're smashing each other into the walls and shit. Like, it's close quarters, close combat. Like, I like that.
Definitely.
That was all I had.
Fuck, I definitely like Statham a bit more than you did this time around.
You did.
Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
I thought he was good.
Yeah,
and his character is such a ball bag.
Yeah. He was slimy and...
Yeah. It's like Wimmer through... It's like he asked ChatGPT to write him a fucking modern techno bro or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we get all the Zen stuff and the gibbering to women about crypto and all this sort of shit. But he's all right.
Yeah.
I think he's a good actor, and he's worth the money in this one.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, he takes a pretty shallow sort of character and gives it a little bit of life.
Yeah, and I think he knew exactly what this was, so you kind of get a few parts where you're almost laughing at you're almost laughing at what he's ripping out on screen, and then the second after you finish laughing, you're like, fuck, I can't wait for him to get
his ass kicked. How'd you feel about Jeremy? I felt like Jeremy's phoning it a little bit. He hasn't got a lot to do.
Yeah. Well,
hasn't got much to do.
I read that this was perhaps a product of, shooting it in the UK as the US.
Yeah.
They just got a couple of, well-known actors, like Minnie Driver, for example. I mean,
she's only in it for like 5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy's phoning it in. Although, and the fellas on the Action podcast brought this up, and I kind of agreed. It's kind of funny that he's essentially like never really like, we're in a good spot here. He's constantly like, oh fuck, we're up shit creek.
And look,
but I'll sort it out, and then I'll get another crew of people. But he's not optimistic about any of it.
Well, he talks to a group of fucking special forces guys and says basically this guy's going to hand you your
look,
ass.
if he was in this room, he'd kill all of you. But if we can get enough of you together,
it's like, see, this is going to come into some of my dislikes and my stuff about the John Wick light.
It's got
angle.
Got a big problem to it, but so does fucking the entire story around what's going on.
Yeah,
really.
Agree. I mean, you had to let some of it go.
Well, I was more kind of laughing at his performance and how he was playing it in those scenes, and how he continued to tell Josh Hutcherson, oh, "You really fucked up here."
Yeah.
I thought that was what I got entertainment out of when I was watching it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that portion of things. I thought dropping a noose out of the roof tile.
Yes.
Was kind of good. It was like a video game move.
Yeah.
Reminded me of like the Batman Arkham games where you'd leave a body out so someone would kind of see it and go, oh, and run over to it. You can fucking leap on top of him or whatever. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty good. And that whole sequence where it leads to him kind of, getting in the elevator and that sort of thing, and what he does in the elevator, I thought all that stuff was good.
Those wire things drag some people down into the fucking, as the elevator falls,
it
drags
a few more down, which I thought was pretty cool. It all looks pretty solid. Again, another thing that was just very minor, but I fucking was giggling at it for some reason. The fella that's just had his head stapled, he's fucking getting arrested and getting thrown around. He's like, fuck, I've just been thrown through a plate glass window. And the guy turns around and goes, shut the fuck up.
I know. That was a bit funny in the background. You go, shut the fuck up. All right. Okay. I'll keep quiet then.
And the last one was, there was another line that I thought worked out all right. It's fucking goofy, but it probably fits nicely in there. It was a throwback. It was something I can imagine Arnie and Sly saying, and it was, we have laws for these things. Like when she's kind of bringing him in, she says, we have laws for these things. And he says, we have laws for these things until they fail. Then you have me.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good line.
Yeah.
So, that was my likes wrapped up there.
Agreed. Okay, dislikes. There's just no relationship built between him and the old lady. So it doesn't seem, I mean, fuck.
This is where Statham is. Unless he's playing opposite the Rock and they're making jokes about Mike Oxmall and all this sort of stuff. Statham doesn't. I mean, he's supposed to be like, he's like a fucking robot in that scene. He's talking about, she's like, oh, let me bring you over for supper and whatever.
She's the only woman who ever looked after me.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, is that all we're going with?
It's like, what? What are you talking about? Well, we never saw any of that because it was so fucking quick.
Yeah. We never. It's like
she offered you dinner once, from what we can see.
Supper.
Yeah, she was your landlord. It's not even dinner. You can turn up and it's a fucking
supper, like after dinner.
Yeah. It's fucking soup and a bit of bread. I mean, Statham's going back to the bar and going, "Fuck, what have I got to eat around here? I'm fucking starving." He's walking out of that joint going, "I'm fucking starving, you silly old bastard.
I've had to eat fucking 3 pounds of honey."
Yeah. I'll be like shitting out a jar of honey tomorrow.
No, you know what? I've been fucking bugged up all night because I've got so much honey in my system. I was so hungry after your supper.
Yeah, he's going to walk in. He's going to see one of those little plates, and he's like, "Oh, fuck. I need to Uber some. I need to Uber a Big Mac here immediately."
Yeah, exactly. So that none of that kind of puts any reason for him to do it. See, taking the John Wick model. And I remember people thinking that, because you saw the preview for John Wick and it sort of says, he killed his dog and everything like this and he's gone off. But when you actually watch the movie, the dog was given to him by his wife, who just died.
The dog had more character development than Felicia Rashad did,
and that's fucking, what? It's criminal. It's criminal that you've got Felicia Rashad and you give her fucking, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Come on.
And you don't even say we're offering dinner. It's fucking supper. You really screwed her over.
Lunch, even.
Yeah. It'll be a fucking ploughman's lunch. You won't even need supper.
Jared, one of the main meals.
Yeah.
It should not be some half-assed middle of the road meal.
Yeah.
Because if there's a soup and there's no crackers, well, that's not a fucking meal, is it?
Yeah.
Right?
But it's not even like you don't even see them kind of doing anything together. It's like they just
barely
kind of
talk.
It's like they've just come across each other and they're just awkwardly standing opposite each other.
Oh, what are you doing here? I'm renting your bar.
I was just checking on the bees. What are you doing?
Yeah, you come out in a fucking spacesuit and you're asking him that question. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. What does it look like?
So John Wick, when you watch John Wick, the dog was gifted to his wife who just died, and they killed it. And he's just, it's not the dog. It's the fucking,
there's
the reasoning behind it.
It's the last sort of thing he had in
Plus,
his life.
this is the other thing I'll bring up, and I know it's sort of jumping forward, but the difference between, they're trying to do the John Wick sort of, that fucking nobody is John Wick. Like they're trying to do the same thing with Jeremy Irons.
Yep.
But it's just not working at all.
It didn't work out as well.
The reason why it works in John Wick is because it's fucking humorous. Because every time someone mentions his name, everyone goes, "Oh shit!"
But you know what else you're missing?
Right?
You know what else you're missing from, especially the particular scene where the father I remember the father just ripping into Alfie Allen.
Yeah.
And that's the scene where he's like, he killed him with a pencil.
Yeah.
A fucking pencil.
Like, and he keeps pointing to the other bloke, "You stay here." And like,
you missed that.
It's funny.
It's just Jeremy Irons going, well, you really
fucked this up,
here.
haven't you?
Which I got a chuckle out of through the movie, but I agree with you that the story of it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, and you're trying to use
it's just
the John Wick kind of formula.
Yeah,
here.
It's the template without any fucking anything on it. Like it's just
Now, here's what I wanted to bring up. Statham's got a case of seagull-itis.
Yeah, he barely gets touched.
He barely gets touched. In fact, he does not get touched
until the
fight with Lazarus.
Or does the bird at the survey land a couple?
No, and that's one of my biggest dislikes. She is also a beekeeper.
Yeah,
who we have been told.
Yeah, but we've been told she's not as good as Statham. We know this.
But that's
already.
Not the point.
Yeah.
That should have been a real fucking ass-kicking fight.
Yes,
where she wailed on his ass too.
Yep.
Because two people with similar skill sets.
Yep.
Throwing down. But he dispatches her like she's nothing. And I'm like, this is why this doesn't work. Because he is indestructible.
Well, I had the same note. I essentially said that there's no escalation in the fights until or the danger level for him until Lazarus, basically.
Yeah. And you know that's not going to go anywhere.
No.
You just know it.
I mean, John Wick has portions where it's like he's kicking ass. It's not like he's not getting touched, but you know he's kicking ass. But they do it in such fucking interesting ways. But
it's also a lot of gunfights.
A lot of gunfights. A lot of that sort of shit. But there's portions where you get a look at Keanu and you get a look on his face like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's ratchet.
He's going through it.
Poor bloke is bugging.
Absolutely fucked. And you don't get that from Statham. That's one knock that I'm going to give you on the whole, this is where someone like Reeves, who is probably more accomplished in the acting, you would probably say,
yes,
gives you better in that sort of thing.
Well, Reeves also, there's a he wasn't noted as an action star.
No, that's right.
Even though he'd been in Speed and he'd been in Point Break, he wasn't really noted as an action hero.
No, correct.
So when he was John Wick, we didn't.
It was a bit of a breakout in that space. Yeah.
So Statham's been doing this kind of stuff for forever.
Correct. But I guess that what I'm saying is when you've got someone who is used to doing more acting than is normally required in these action movies.
Yes.
It's the same as, Batista and The Rock, Adam. Branch out, get yourself a dramatic role and look what you can do.
Yes, yes. But it's also it's baggage that comes with Statham, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Is that we're expected? This is what his fans expect.
Yeah, he's good at what he can do, and this is where it's placed nicely. But I think
but it shows the limits,
there's a limitation,
limitations of what he can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's this. I'm going to bring this one up now because I think it's similar.
Mm.
It's the same with the quirky characters they try to go for.
Yes.
Like you see through the John Wick series now, we've had enough of those quirky characters, like Dacascos as the chef.
Yeah.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
In John Wick 3, and it's like they kind of go for a couple of them. One of them's the other Beekeeper. Again, the action fellas had a perfect description for her when she turned up. They're like, they said it's like a Fortnite character.
Yeah.
So you look at her and you think there's going to be something there. You think there's going to be.
Well, at one point, Jeremy Irons says she's a fucking lunatic and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so this is going to be a character we might see a few times.
And that gets shown up just in about 2 seconds by the fact that she decides to fucking ram him and then launch out of the car and start firing away.
And then she's got a fucking mini gun on the back of the truck and everything.
But
it all comes to fucking
to nothing. And then down the stretch, Lazarus is the only one that comes close to it. But still, I mean, you think about Dacascos, you think about Scotty Adkins in John Wick 4, you think about these characters that have popped up, like Common, even though he didn't have a quirk per se, but he was like an adversary and they fucking sit down and have a drink and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All of that stuff it's not even John Wick light. It's fucking, I don't know, it's fucking Temu John Wick at that point. Like
you got it on $10 for fucking $5.99. It turned out to be this big.
It falls well short. It
turned out to be a lot smaller than you thought.
Funnily enough, that my daughter fucking cracked me up the other day. We got a scrub daddy. Right? So there was a scrub daddy sitting in the kitchen, and my wife, for some reason, someone was doing a fucking Temu order. So she's turned up with this bag of knockoff scrub daddies. And I'm like, what the fuck are we going to call these? And my daughter's kind of like, I don't know, wash fathers or something like that. So now we've got a fucking bunch of wash fathers in the kitchen. But yeah, back on track. It all falls short of that. And the bit that made me laugh the most was when the last group of mercenaries that they call in, we're supposed to know that they're like the baddest group because we get a half-second shot of them jumping out of a truck, yahooing, and a few of them have got colourful clothes and hats on, and you're like, is that all we're mustering here? And they all get dispatched in exactly the same fashion as everyone else until Lazarus.
Kurt, you can do better.
You can do better. I think you can do better. So yeah, that aspect of the movie was very much Team John Wick.
The scammer's office. Holy shit, it's like a fucking neon nightmare.
It is,
It was like, so that entire scene was like something out of fucking Wolf of Wall Street.
It looked like Las Vegas.
It did not belong, in my opinion, right?
No.
To me, her being scammed over the phone, where we didn't see any of that, because we're going to see that later when he turns up with the fucking kerosene and everything and the gasoline and blows the place up. We're going to go in there eventually. So that's fine.
Yeah.
We didn't need to see it initially because I just felt it was so fucking stupid.
Well, I guess the problem with that is they had to give you a face, kind of.
Yeah, I know.
It was the face.
But could you have not had that when he blew the joint up? Because he didn't kill Garnett then.
Well, I don't think so because, like, you either get the person on the phone or they very clearly position Garnett as like, okay, well, I'm king shit around here. I'm running the show. So I think it does kind of work to put him, again, it's so fucking quick, and with the lack of character development, I think getting him fucking trumpeting himself like, this is how it's done, bang, 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 works. I completely agree. It looks fucking silly.
Yeah.
The place looks silly.
It didn't work for me.
No. But I think the Garnett character, he gives you the immediately, he's like the avatar for the whole fucking, the thing. So as soon as Statham rocks up, that's the guy you're looking for.
Yeah.
Because if he's looking through random screens for the one guy that did the job, I don't think that works as well. I think having you've got the figurehead because, again, they just ripped through that. So I think...
And then they did rip through him pretty quick. They got rid of him later fairly quickly. But again, what was the point of all that? We kind of had like these different bosses running these shitty call centers where they were doing all this shit.
Yeah.
Because the next guy was exactly the same. The guy who used a stapler on.
Yeah. It was all tied up with the fucking subplot of them discovering, it's branches and it all comes back to this.
Yeah, it's like, fuck.
It's kind of like, we could have done with him. I would have done, I could have done with a montage of him just ripping through different call centers.
Yeah, just blowing everyone up. That would have been fine. Now, the biggest problem with it is the FBI stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, it's padding. None of it is vaguely interesting. And they keep trying to do banter.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Look, we're partners. We've been together for years. None of it was funny. None of it was interesting. I was just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah. I agree.
Just stick with Statham.
But not only that, but it's like when she's discovering it all and on the hammer and putting it all together and chasing him or whatever, they never do anything in the movie except that.
Yes.
It's not like fucking Tommy Lee Jones in A Fugitive. It's not like he's complicating any of these things.
Yeah.
Or the FBI and what was her name? Started with a V. Verona. Agent Verona.
Yeah.
It's not like she's doing that kind of role and complicating it. It's just like she's constantly on his hammer. So what I thought was going to happen was she was going to get tied up in one side of it and he was going to end up having to rescue her as well because of the guy the CIA, at the CIA that she kept talking to. I thought she's going to spill the beans and then it's going to come back on her. We got to shut these guys up.
Yeah, but no.
That didn't happen either. It's the head of the CIA was above board. Okay,
well,
good. It's good to know we've got someone honest in the position.
But you know what I mean? It felt like Statham killing through everyone to the top guys, A to B story.
Yep.
But then we've got this C story that doesn't connect. Or that connects, but it's just like, there's no point in it. Why does it matter if she's following them?
Well, that's like the number one subplot in the movie.
But Jared, why do we need to? Why do we care that the FBI's going to eventually find out? Okay, well, Statham was in the right.
They're telling you everything about it. Between them and the bad guys, they're telling you what the beekeepers are. And I mean, because she found a book about real beekeepers,
yeah,
so she fucking unravels the whole thing.
But Jeremy Irons tells us what they are.
I know, but we're not spending the whole. Again, we're spending short portions with him. So she's the one that's uncovering for us who, like, taking on some of the exposition about, this guy's, he doesn't have a fucking life, basically. He's got a name, but there's nothing else. And then going bit by bit.
It was just very clunky.
Well, it's clunky, but it's also going to be super clunky too if Jeremy Irons is the one telling you, oh, yeah, this is all about the beekeepers. And also, you know how you've got this call center and all those other ones that are all connected and they all come back to you, like, that's what the cops are telling you through the whole movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know, it's dumping some exposition and it's just a subplot that goes nowhere.
Yeah, agreed. We talked about the petrol station. Yeah. I had to giggle, though. He goes to the beekeeper's lair.
The hive?
The hive. He gets a new truck. He gets all this new equipment and shit. He does not at any point change his appearance. Even though there's fucking pictures of him all over the place, right? He looks like this.
Well, he can't exactly have a shave and fucking shave his head. He's already done.
No, shave your face because he needs to shave his face. Put a fucking wig on. Something like that. He doesn't change his appearance one bit.
Sunnies.
He doesn't even change his fucking clothes.
Cowboy hat, like some of the crazy mercenaries at the end.
Like, fuck me, Jared. Like,
yeah.
I understand you're a beekeeper. This was the bit that was really shitting me about the beekeeper stuff. Is, A, you're telling me that this guy can whip the shit out of an entire fucking group of SWAT or an entire group of special forces. He's so well trained. What is he, a fucking cyborg?
Yeah. Right? Well, they say they've got resources they've got all the resources. He uses no resources. All we can tell is he owns one pair of clothes and a razor.
Yeah, exactly. So that stuff shat me, right? But secondly, yes, I know you're a beekeeper. I know you're going to just kick people's asses and you're happy to sort of walk around like this, but you've got to still play under the radar if you want to turn up at the president's fucking house.
Yeah.
You've got to be under the radar.
No, don't worry about that. I'll just show up.
I'll just rock up.
Well, the only time that they went to any length to explain that, which wasn't too bad, was when he's kind of working under the truck.
That was cool.
And he fucking belts the bloke under the truck.
But
and
also,
face with him.
he dresses in like a full SWAT kit so you can't see his face. Like, I like that.
Yeah,
that
that's the resource that he's got.
Resources,
he's got the SWAT kit.
I got all the fucking resources.
The same as the other.
Yeah.
I would have thought if you weren't the beekeeper anymore, you would be struggling to find those resources in some instances. But anyway.
Well, no, because she'd taken over his hive. Jesus Christ. That sounds ridiculous. But, and also just, I know that I shouldn't say this, but from what I've been told, you can't actually cut someone's finger off and use it on a fucking finger scanner. It doesn't work like that. It needs to have blood in it.
Yeah.
It
I would
needs
have
to be
assumed something like that.
Yeah, correct.
Same as,
Same with retinal scanners.
Demolition Man, the eye on a pencil or whatever it was.
Same with
fucking pencil. The constant talk of bees grows very tired.
Oh,
fucking very tired.
Okay, we're tying it back, yeah. And look, he was a beekeeper and he currently keeps bees.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of lines I'd be okay with, but it just got to a point where I was the one going, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. I was sick of it.
And we didn't get anyone mention a sting. After all this bee talk and no one talks about stinging anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
That's a fucking debacle. You've missed a good one there, ChatGPT.
What about one of the stinkiest bits of dialogue I think I've ever heard? Was Statham, again, just a little bit of Statham's finest, sitting at the table when he's talking to Verona after she's determined you're not the guy. Let's have a sit down and let's have supper. Let's have a powwow.
I've already had that.
I had it. I'm fucking hungry already.
Can we have dinner? Can we fucking dinner?
Why don't you put a couple of ribs on?
Rack of ribs or something. Jesus Christ.
You got a T-bone there by chance? I'll take a rump, whatever. Just fucking get me something I can chew on.
I don't care if it's got gristle in it. Just fucking get it on the burner.
Get some fucking chops on there. He delivers the dialogue of stealing from an elderly person is as bad as stealing from a child.
Yeah.
And then he goes on about sometimes, when the elderly get stolen from whatever, they're left to face the hornets alone.
Oh,
and I was sitting there going, Jason, fuck. Why didn't you stroll in and tell Kurt Wimmer?
No, Kurt, I can't say that. It sounds fucking ridiculous, mate.
And when when there's a bit of pushback, you're like, do you remember the Corn Man in Children of the Corn remake? Because I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've watched your last 4 movies and fuck, I'm surprised you're here. Yeah, I would agree. There's a couple of really stinky pieces of dialogue, and a lot of them are based around that whole beekeeper bullshit.
Yeah. Well, when they start gibbering about, sometimes when a queen gives birth to a bee that's, I can't remember what the terminology, but a bee that's fucking causing trouble. There'll be a rogue bee that'll come and kill the queen. And I was just like,
fuck me.
Jesus.
Look, yeah, okay, he was called a beekeeper, but it was a fucking code name.
I don't think that stuff is necessarily a bad idea.
No.
But it just the way that it's deployed is just, I don't know, there was a couple of parts where I was like, oh, God. Like,
yeah,
give it a rest.
Agreed.
Also, is he, like, did he decide to become a beekeeper after he was an
actual beekeeper? Yeah, I think he did. Fucking dildo.
Or was it when he was reading the manual? Or is that how they go undercover? They fucking...
become beekeepers?
You've got to be a beekeeper.
Oh, nah. Surely not.
What about at the start when he pulls the phone out of the fucking hive?
Out of the hive, yeah.
Oh,
what are we doing?
It seems
just keep that in your pocket.
It seemed like being an actual beekeeper was part of the
cover,
the deal.
Oh no,
maybe. I don't know. No, just
ridiculous.
Well, we'll find out in the sequel because surely they'll make.
Oh, you'd think
she made plenty of cash.
She did. $40 million, maybe another 20 or 30 to market. You're getting double you're doubling.
It's bang for your buck, Adam.
Bang for your buck, yeah. Last one for me. Look, I shouldn't take this so hard, but I think by this stage it was, it slapped my forehead a couple of times. He believes there's good in the world, yet he seems to kill and maim indiscriminately.
Mm.
Like, how many fucking innocent people were probably hurt by this guy?
Quite a few.
Right? I found that a bit rich. Like when you roll that out at the end, I was just kind of like, no, we don't need that. You know why?
Yeah.
Because indiscriminately maiming and killing people is his fucking entire life.
If there is good in the world, you've either hobbled it or cut its throat or fucking something.
You stabbed it 50 times.
Or you've thrown it down an elevator shaft.
Exactly. There is no good in the world.
Yeah.
That's what he should be. That's his whole ethos should be.
But you know,
there is nothing good in the world.
The funnier thing about that is they don't even connect it to the fact that he's gibbering on about she was the only one that was good to me. Essentially, you're saying there's no good in the world except that old lady. But then you're sitting there talking about, I believe there's good in the world. Well, why don't you connect it back to that? That's why I'm on this mission, because there's that one bird that was good.
The simple fact of the matter is his entire ethos should have been, there is no good in the world, because if there was, you wouldn't need people like me who have to fucking do this shit.
I don't necessarily I don't necessarily agree.
I mean, we know there's good in the world. I mean, just saying he's just fucking,
Well,
he's just an
doesn't
animal.
come back to the whole fucking hierarchy of the bees and shit like that. He's just fucking the worker bee.
Fuck me, if I had to hear that shit again, like...
Yeah,
I did not want to hear that shit
fucking wandered
again.
into the hives without my suit on and hoped they fucking stung me to death.
Absolutely, I would have nuded up and just let them loose. I'd have had a beard of bees. Taking the Steve O approach.
Just kill me.
The Steve O approach.
A beard of bees on your old fella.
Why do I laugh at that too? Because I saw that recently and I was in stitches. There is no reason to be laughing at that.
Yeah, I think there is.
But yeah, I just felt that was a bit rich. Like I was just kind of like, look, just fucking maim and kill.
It was a bit silly.
We don't need this. Like we don't need this.
Well, I mean, especially when the rest of the movie is just not bothered with any sort of character or anything. Fucking don't worry about it. At that point, that's what they should have been saying.
The horse is bolted.
Statham should have said to David, hey, look, it's the last fucking, this is the end of the movie. We haven't fucking worried about it before. Just forget about it.
No, the horse is bolted, mate.
Just let me get straight to fucking punching him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a couple of extras. I think I mentioned briefly the whole reveal about it being a
high
political figure. Not a surprise. I can't believe you didn't mention to be or not to be.
What?
Remember when Lazarus is about to kill him and then he goes, to be or not to be? Isn't that the bloody question? And Statham goes, I think I'll take to be. Or something.
For fuck's sake, fellas. Like, you haven't got time to talk. You're punching each other.
Shit.
And also, he gets stabbed.
Yeah, he does.
And he just...
He shakes it off.
But again, Jared, this is one of the issues. And look, I love Jason. I'm a fan of his work. I understand. Yeah, I cooled on him. Here. But if you know what I mean, like, I like his work because he knows what his lane is.
Yeah.
But I'm sick of that shit. Like, he got fucking stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah.
You need to showcace that hurts. You know what I mean?
Just a bit.
Like, I don't want you to go, scream like you've been murdered, but I need you to show that hurt.
No, I need you to be like fucking, you get your arm twisted and you fucking, oh shit. Fucking, you give me some emotion.
I stubbed my toe and you would swear I broke my leg.
You swear, if I stub my toe, you'd swear I've been shot.
And I'm like, fuck!
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion coming out of me.
Yeah, I'm a guy in charge of my emotions when I stub my toe or I accidentally knee the door frame.
There's no remonstrating or anything when I bump into it, when I hit my head on something, like I open a fucking cupboard and then forget it's open and fucking bang into it or something like that. Just a man very much in control of his emotions when that sort of shit happens, Adam.
I can go one step further and open the thing in my own face.
I believe it. I would believe it. And then I can see you yelling at the thing that you've opened.
No doubt, Jared.
Like a stupid government. Who the fuck put that there?
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. There is no reason for that cupboard to be. It's only keeping plates and shit in it. We don't need it. Why is it here?
Just leave the fucking cereal on the bench. We don't need that fucking
Why
thing
have we got doors on these things? They should be open.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a fucking noted asshole when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't take much to set me off.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be
a powder keg.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be a beekeeper. I mean, the second I walked into the first call centre, something would have had me raging like a...
Jared, you know what? I'd have been raging, ready to go down to the call centre, then got stung by one of the bees and kicked over a line.
You probably would have walked into the call centre, opened the door on your face, started yelling at me.
I'm bleeding out of my own head. You know.
Yeah, I think that's where it would have probably ended up. Speaking of that particular scene, there was a line there that also had me absolutely in stitches. It was actually after it's burned down and the FBI gets there. And then the fella that works with Verona mentions, the receptionist said she saw a jack dude in his 40s stroll in. And I thought, Jason Statham currently, if I'm not mistaken, Jason Statham's currently 57 years old. So
it wasn't him.
The beekeeper's done his job. He's fucking got in and out. No one's noticed. The only reason I can imagine that you would have that line in is fucking ego.
Yeah, that's Statham. That's a Statham. How about we say it was a 40-year-old jack guy?
I mean, Statham could pass for late 40s at best if he's had a bit of Bronson nip and tuck sort of work. He's 49.
Yeah, look, I would say that Statham could pass for my age.
But they actually, later on they have 40 to 50 on that, the news thing that comes in. But I couldn't stop laughing. A jack dude in his 40s. I'm like, why on earth do you even need that line?
Why do we need the jack dude? Why don't we just say he was a guy in his 40s?
Yeah. Like
with a cap, baseball cap and a, perpetual fucking scowl.
It just seemed, I couldn't stop laughing and I just thought someone's put that in there to satisfy something.
Yeah, and Jason's read the new pages and gone,
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I am happy with that. I accept this.
Yeah. Jason's kind of raised the eyebrow and gone, 35?
And Kurt's gone, I can't do
it, Jason. I
can't do that,
40.
Jason.
Okay.
Minimum 40.
They're haggling over age. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. We've kind of talked back and forth about the stuff that really
ground our balls.
Yeah, it just doesn't. When it's not action stuff, it's not
good.
It's not really good. No. I think it would have been far more. There would have been more character development if you had walked in and fucking smacked your head and started carrying on.
One time
I would have known. Well, this guy's got a couple of emotions coming out about this.
One time at work, Jared, and I don't know why I want to out myself here, but you have those swipe cards to go into the stairwells.
Yep.
And I've swiped and I've fucking gone went to go through, but I must have pressed down and I've just gone head first into the forehead first into the there's a little window and it's got these it's got a piece of sort of plexiglass on it and it's been fucking bolted in. So I fucking headbutted that. And
I was joking, but I knew there was probably a kernel of truth in this.
No, this was the truth. And then I had to go to a gig, I was eloquently dressed, Jared. And I get up there and I fucking go, and there's fucking blood everywhere. There's a huge big gash right here. And I was just fuck?
Well, that's when you say, I've just been in a blue with security downstairs.
I know. I just told him I'm a beekeeper.
Yeah.
So
I
we
just said,
fucking
I'm
punched
coming
on.
in. I forgot my card,
on.
but I just told him I'm coming in anyway.
So, like that sort of shit would have happened to me, I'm sure.
Yeah. I actually, I did have one slight one, and I'm not a huge fan of the way David Ayer directs action overall. I think it's got a little bit too much of the Bay, just super quick cuts and that sort of thing. And I think it's been proven that doesn't have to be the way you do it.
No.
I don't mind it occasionally, but I just don't think it always works in fight scenes. So,
No, it doesn't. No.
But for the most part of the movie, it didn't dull the enjoyment of those. So
No.
it's a minor one.
Yeah. All right, that is The Beekeeper. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook, we're at Thrill Me Podcast Australia. We're at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. And we're also on Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for what we cover next. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.